and welcome to the next episode of our Elections Decoded series. This is our panel of experts from the University of Pretoria, and we talk about the upcoming issues for the next elections. In today's episode, we're talking about voting rights and wrongs, trying to decode the election law. Roland, in the United States, we vote using a direct majoritarian system, so 50% plus one. 50% of the votes that are cast plus one, you win, winner takes all, okay? Is that the same in South Africa?
No. On the outcome side, yes, but in terms of the election itself, we use what is called a proportional list, party list system. It's a closed list. In other words, parties submit names of candidates that will be elected, but the voting actually is party-based. So you vote for a political party, you get your different ballot papers, and then the issue of proportionality is quite important, which is a very fair system in that you have many votes for many voices, and all these voices are actually part of the outcome in the end. Also, we don't have a threshold in South Africa. So the number of votes you need to have an elected representative is quite low. It's around, in the past, around 50,000 votes. So it's a very open and fair system in terms of representation, which is why it also is a bit technical in terms of the mechanics of the process.
Tendai, given what Roland has just mentioned, okay, this is representative, it's proportional representation, do South Africans really elect their president?
President is elected by Parliament, the National Assembly. So what happens is that at the first sitting of Parliament, the president is elected by members of National Assembly, and the Chief Justice or a judge that is appointed by the Chief Justice must preside over the process. And most importantly to note that unlike a majoritarian system where a president is directly elected in the ballot paper, it is uncertain who becomes the president when South Africans go to vote, because the president is elected by Parliament. It's first sitting,
so, yeah.
Yes.
Okay, right. So, I mean, this is how we've seen it before, and people obviously think, we voted for a certain political party, therefore we're voting for the president. That's it. Ompha, we've got three ballots in this election. Is that right? So how do we navigate this? What are they for?
So the three ballots, previously we only had two, which were for the national as well as provincial. Those were the national and provincial ballots. And with this year's election, we have three. So we have the national ballot, which will be electing people to the National Assembly, and then we would have the national original ballot as well as the provincial ballot.
300 political parties on these ballots can be difficult, and then you've got independent candidates.
Right.
How are we going to find the independent candidates on these ballots?
The independent candidate conversation is an interesting one because it's the first time, really, that we're doing this within our election system. So we can't say for certain this is exactly what's going to happen, but we can say that perhaps there's different scenarios on how it can play out. With the way that projections are looking, it's very unlikely that independents are going to have a large number of seats, firstly in Parliament, maximum maybe about 2 seats, but I maybe see like 1 seat. The question is, what is then that independent candidate going to do with that 1 seat? How are they going to utilize their time in Parliament?
Is it possible that one of those independent candidates could be the president, the presidential candidate, should they get into Parliament, especially given the shenanigans that are, the scenarios, shall we say, that are at play with coalition governments? Is that a possibility?
What is important is to understand the numbers. We elect 400 members to the National Assembly, 200 from the national ballot, and the other 200 are divided proportionally based on population of each province. That's the regional vote. If an individual is elected, it's 1 of 400. And I think that is why, yes, it's possible, but highly unlikely.
The introduction of the independent candidates, I think, comes at a very significant time in the South Africa's democracy, 30 years. And there've been backlash with civil society wanting electoral reforms. I think this is a win. and it opens avenues for more young people who might also want to run as independent candidates, and also for more fresh politics, as it were. Yeah.
More fun for us. Excellent. Thank you very much. That's the end of today's episode, and join us again for the next in our series, Elections Decoded.